Hey Read Crew, back with another short story upload. This is a shorter version of one of the longer stories I have uploaded previously. If you like this, please leave a like below and remember it's free, so subscribe. Story number 2, Creeper in the Woods. This happened about 13 years ago, when I was a sophomore in college, attending a liberal arts school in Suffolk County, New York. Within the first month or two of my freshman year, I found myself in a very tight-knit group of fellow theatre geeks, 6 guys including myself and 1 girl, and they all loved horror movies and ghost stories. I found my crew, freshman year, was tough, but we all held each other up and made the whole experience more enjoyable for one another. At the beginning of the sophomore year, we decided that in October, as the Halloween season was ramping up, we would find a creepy, wooded spot in a nearby town some night and scare the crap out of ourselves. We did some research and found that there was a particular isolated area about 30 minutes away. Infamous for paranormal sightings, perfect. The 7 of us split up into 2 different cars and headed out that night. Allow me to set the scene. You turn off a main road, flooded with strip malls and restaurants and whatnot, and you're almost immediately greeted with complete darkness. Again, this area is very heavily wooded, so it was essential, a large web of winding roads surrounded by trees. Very few streetlights and very few houses. Without a GPS or a good sense of direction, one could easily get lost in there. We all made sure we have fully charged phones and flashlights just in case, but the goal was to keep driving until we collectively decided to pull over and go exploring. So per the directions, we made a left off the main road, driving for 30 minutes or so in this dark network, picking directions at random, just getting intentionally lost. Our cars made a turn, and to our surprise, there was a huge log in front of us. We had reached a dead end of some kind, and nothing but trees beyond it. We all got out to see what exactly this was, stepped over the log, and noticed 2 narrow trails leading in different directions. This seemed as good a time as any to grab our flashlights and do some amateur ghost hunting. We flipped a coin and set off on the trails to the right. The trail was so narrow that we had to walk in single file to avoid getting whacked by branches. For whatever reason, I ended up at the back. I'm usually pretty rational and level-headed, but I have to say, the further we went, the more I was overcome with an uneasy feeling. I kept hearing sounds deep in the woods, unable to shake the feeling we were being watched. But I seemed to be the only one who heard these things, so I struggled and shrugged it off as my imagination. And in any case, the whole point of us being there was to get scared, not to mention the fact that we were only 7 able-bodied college students. What would we come across that could take us down? We headed down this trail for about 20 minutes, and just when I thought it would never end, we came to a massive clearing, and I mean massive. It was large, open, and unkempt grass, comparable in scope to a golf course, but not nearly as well manicured. Trees surrounding the entire field, which was so large, we could not see the end of it from where we were. Standing, I was thrilled to get out of the narrow trail, but I don't think any of us were expecting to find an area so vast. One of us looked to the right and said, "Hey, check that out." We all turned, and there was an old, dilapidated house, several hundred yards away. The house was completely dark, with no cars or signs of anyone actually living there. We walked over and shined our flashlights at it, and sure enough, the windows and doors were all boarded up. I managed to peer between the boards on one of the windows, and what I could see was an old white couch covered with plastic, but an otherwise empty room. Whoever used to live here, they were long gone. Because there was no way in, and because we all felt sufficiently creeped out by the house anyway, we decided to walk closer to the trail we had come from, have a seat in the field, and figure out where to go next. We walked towards the narrow trail, but before we could sit, my friend Mark stopped. What he was doing, his expression dropped and he pointed. We all turned. On the very far side of the field, directly across from where we came in, we could see some tall, lanky, and pale, dancing among the trees. And by dancing, I mean it was skipping around, grabbing a tree, swinging around it, and then doing the same thing with another tree. Basically a doozy-doo. The moon was so bright and the woods so dark, it actually took a second for us to really understand what we were seeing. Jay, the 6'4" skeptic of the group, wasn't seeing it. I leaned into him, pointing in the direction, and says, "Jay, look where I'm pointing. Don't you see that?" He squinted for a bit, and the second that he saw it, he gasped with everything he had, clutched my arm, and whispered, "What the fuck is that?" What happened next sent shockwaves through all of us. Whoever this was, they stopped dancing, looked in our direction, and started charging straight at us. Without even thinking, we freaked and run back to the trail. Yet again, Jay was the only one who didn't see what was happening. He shouted after us, "Guys, what is it? Where are you going?" After about 15 seconds of running like hell, I heard Jay shout, "Holy shit." I looked back and saw his flashlight was following the rest of us into the trail. While the walk into the woods took about 20 minutes, we made it back to our 2 cars and hopped in. We were peeling away in closer to 5. Once we were a safe distance away, we pulled over, got out and checked in with each other about what just happened. My heart was pounding, and I know everyone else was feeling the same way. Nearly 15 years later, we all still friends, living in different states, yet keep it in touch through marriages, divorces, children, etc. But occasionally, out of the blue, one of us sends a group text to the others, something to the effect of, "The woods, that really happened, right?" It most certainly did. That experience is always in the back of my mind, and I'm pretty sure it always will be. Here's the thing that still resonates with me about that night. Whoever that was, they were dancing manically in the woods at 1 in the morning, and then ran directly at a group of young adults, not at all fazed by the fact there were several of us severely outnumbering them. Did he know we were there from the second we parked? Was he the sounds I kept hearing when we walked the trail? Whatever the case may be, when he came for us that night, you can be sure none of us wanted to stick around and see what he was truly capable of. So thanks for listening, guys. And if you did enjoy the content, please leave a like below and subscribe to the channel. Also hit the notification bell as I'm making regular uploads, just so you know when new stories are uploaded. Thanks. So that'll do, guys. If you did enjoy, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll upload again soon.